Hello everyone, how's it going? This is Ryan back with another video, and in the last video I did for Cubase I talked about how to mix a kick drum, and I briefly touched upon sidechaining, but I didn't actually go into it and kind of what it was and explained how to do it and so on and so forth. So I decided, you know what, let's do a video on sidechaining. So for those of you that don't know what sidechaining is essentially it's a link between two tracks where one track essentially ducks out when a frequency comes in from another track essentially. So let's say in an instance of a dance track you might have a kick drum that comes through and it ducks the bass out, so you get that kind of presence on the kick drum, and the bass kind of does like this wobbly kind of effect, which is actually how I've done it in this this track I'm now mixing. So if I just give you guys a quick I was about to say visual, it's not visual, a quick listenable example so you can see what I mean. So you see there how the gain reduction comes every time that kick drum comes down. This comes down drastically. That just kind of shows you. So just one more time. So sidechain in itself is really handy to have in dance music, in pop music, in even in some instances like rock or metal. If you've got kind of like a hybrid thing going on with some synth or some electronic percussions and stuff. To be honest, the possibilities are endless. You could probably use this in any genre. And just one more example of where to use it in another kind of context to a mix that might be a bit differently to this. You might be mixing a rock song, for example, and you're finding that the snare needs to cut through slightly more, but you don't want to harshly overdo much of the EQing on the actual track itself because it sounds a bit weird or whatever it might be. You can use a sidechain to just duck out, maybe, I don't know, it's clashing with one of the guitars or something like that. You can duck out that particular instrument whenever that snare hits, just to allow the presence to come through a little bit more, which I know obviously everyone mixes differently, but a lot of people like to mix with drums at the front, so you get that real kind of presence and that kind of that real full-on in your face kind of mix when you mix with the drums first. So yeah, hopefully that explains it, but now we're going to actually get on to how to do it. So before we actually go into the practical side of things with the actual VSTs themselves, I'd just like to explain to you what a send is. So if I go over to my kick drum track here, which is the bass drum, you'll see here I've got a sends inserts here, which I've got two tracks. So here I've got a bass track, which is the synth bass, and I've also got a the atmospheric kind of thing going on, which if I just play it to you, it's that basically. I wanted that to duck out as well. So essentially on your main channel, so your kick drum being the main channel, the thing that you want to have the focus, the things that other instruments or other sounds are going to be ducking out of, you basically put the tracks on here for what you want to duck out. Now if you go to do this straight away, you're going to notice that these don't come up on your sends, and that's because you need to activate a send or a sidechain on your compressor tool. So how to do this is you go over to your bass drum, you put on a compressor, and there's literally a option up here that says activate/deactivate sidechain, and it'll look a little bit different, varying from door to door, VST to VST, that kind of thing. But you enable the sidechain and you literally come away from that for the time being. You would go on here, you'd literally come under your side chains just here, you'd press it, happy days, there we go. Now assuming that you've done that for all of your tracks, you've got the bass on there, or if you've got a guitar or whatever it might be, this will all show here. You might have to activate it so it goes like this, because sometimes, or when you first put it on there, it might not always be activated. At this point you then go back to your track, so we're going to go use the bass track in this instance, and that's when you play around with your compression settings. So if I quickly have a little live demo just so I can show you the difference between having like high compression, low compression, and just sort of show you what it looks like. as you get to sort of like this mark here, you don't really hear a lot of difference. But when we went up here, the bass was just constant. So if I show you that one more time, do you hear how it's just constant, like Whereas, so if I play that one more time, just so you can hear it. Whereas if I go and put it down here, there we go. So as I moved it up slightly, what you would have seen there is that it kind of had this wobbly kind of in and out kind of sound. And that's playing around with the compression settings and stuff like that. So that's how you actually do a sidechain. A lot of people can use this for 808 sounds and stuff like that. In fact, actually, that's the most common way to make an 808. So in fact, actually, I mean, it's not really a proper 808, but I did something very similar here. If I just play this section here to you. I guess it is an 808 actually, but yeah, still, you can hear how close that bass drum is with the with the actual bass track itself. So that is how powerful sidechaining can be. We're just gonna have one little look on here just to see if there's anything else that I've not mentioned. No, not necessarily. Obviously, that's the actual function itself. Obviously, you got to bear in mind. You will have to do some other things to the other tracks, such as EQing and so on and so forth, so that you get the best out of the sound. For example, if you've got a bass drum and you've took like 50% of the low end off and it's literally just a high end bass, which isn't a thing, but let's just use that as just an example, and you went to do this, it would sound like absolute dog poo. So yeah, just play around with things, once you've actually got the medium of sidechaining / compression that you're looking for. Yeah, just play around. I mean, no mix is the same, so it is really good just to experiment and just use your ears to obviously think about what actually sounds good and what doesn't. So but anyway, guys, without further ado, that's how to do a sidechain, or how to sidechain, however you want to word it. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments, leave a like, and also subscribe, just to be a lovely person and all that. But otherwise, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and peace.